Welcome, everyone, to episode 7 of Just Listen. I'm Peter Garino. Today's date is June 29th, 2026. This past week, on last Tuesday, I attended my first town meeting. Sat through the whole thing and pretty much was the only one there just to listen. Town of Hartford has 7 select board members. 2 were not there for one reason or another. My takeout from what happened in that one meeting, a few things. First of all, on the 7th of July, the owner of the Briggs building is going to be at the town meeting there to discuss what they want plans to do with the renovations and I say renovations, pretty much what they're going to do with that entire block. And by the sounds of it, they're going to want a lot of town participating as well as money, because there's a lot more other things coming down the pipeline within the town, like with the Hartford High School, with the PBAs or PBCs, they're going to raise half the school. The Hartford High School is probably way out of date and way too small for the student population. It's still cramped area, old building. It probably needs some updates. I think that's going to be a project that's going to cost a lot more than I think people are anticipating, that they're going to put out and say, here's a couple of different options. The town voted on a split decision for WABA, the ice rink facility by the high school there, to get granted about $60,000 to do a study to help with the climate control within the facility there. I think a lot of back and forth between those two. So the municipality is granted about $60,000 to do a study for the climate control, meaning okay, how much insulation and stuff they will need to help keep that rink is operational. For what they put out, there's some months that ice rink alone is costing $8,000 a month in utility bills due to probably electric bill, trying to keep the ice cold and so on. So I'm not against WABA getting upgrades. I'm not against that facility. I think that's been a good thing for the community, good for the kids. But I think right now we're coming into a point where will it be financially stable for the townspeople to be able to do that? Because being a shared project, will the school be able to put money into that? And remember, as townspeople, we got to think that those two, education and municipality, are one for us. They may say that they're separate because they are technically separate, but it all comes out of our pocket. That all comes out of our pockets and in taxes. And for people who rent, please do not think that your vote and your voice doesn't matter. Your voice more than matters. Just remember, when taxes go up, so does your rent. Are we being townspeople being taxed out of the town? That's been a big argument within the state of Vermont. I know I've seen a few clips with Governor Phil Scott there, pretty much pointing it out, affordability in the state of Vermont right now is really a huge issue. And I don't think enough constituents are addressing those issues. If not, they're just compounding the issues. Why people are leaving the state? Why are not young people staying in the state? There's multiple issues on that front. Act 76 passed. It was a bill to help to fund early childhood, additional funding for early childhood education. I'm totally for it and not against it. My issue is that was coming out of the payroll tax. What I wrote my local representative, Senator Becca White. So what I wrote her, she responded. What she responded by was saying, "Oh, because it's coming out of the payroll tax, it's not touching your municipality tax," or something along those lines. I'm like, it's all coming out of my pocket. And the issue where I have with the bill is that is it addressing the fundamental issue of lack of availability to daycare, early childhood care facilities. And I don't think it did. I think it just put more money into the existing pools. Did some get created? I think they did. From my understandings, I look at the numbers, but not enough to evenly touch what they were coming out of our payroll. So there's just more taxes without addressing the underlying issues. So that kind of irritated me. I don't think she's really in touch of what's going on in the grassroots, in the working class of the community. It almost seems like Vermont, town of Hartford, and I hear the same thing about, Lebanon as well. If you don't make at least $200,000, They don't want you in their community. Since I bought in my house 12 years ago, the value of my house has probably gone up 125%. Why? Because you have all these stupid firms going in communities and buying up these houses. That's why they don't want to, the feds don't want to decrease rates, because they don't want the working class people right now to actually get into the market and be actually to compete right now. And they're not. Between the high interest rates and on top of the high housing cost, the only people that can actually deal with that right now is big corporations. And they're just afraid that if the working class people, the people could actually start affording houses again, oh, well, their stocks will go down and housing prices will come down. And they probably will. Housing prices go up, down. And I think something needs to happen. Another thing that kind of irritated me was something got brought up about their town of Hartford's reach out, from how do they reach out to people via Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and so on, YouTube, Instagram. And a couple of them make comments about X saying that pretty much they just don't like the policies. I think that's a slippery slope that I think they need to be cautioned on. Based on analytics and reach outs and and actual numbers instead of feelings. Okay, this is what's going on. Town of Hartford on the X account has 274 followers. And by the looks of what they have on there, it doesn't seem like they take too long because to actually post it on there. So I don't think the time of it is really the issue. I know there are a couple other things coming up. That's gonna be a big one for mid-year. Let's go into the weekly topic. America's this week, July 4th. America's 250th anniversary. Woo! Yeah, what a year. I feel with the division in this country right now doesn't feel like it's time to celebrate as we should be. There's still a lot of great things about this country. The face of our country right now, it's not really that great. Let's go through a few stats and see what has come from this country here. Quick stats. On September 5th, 1774, the first Congressional Congress actually convenes in Philadelphia to protest British taxes. Here we are to protest a 2% tea tax, and here we are getting taxed out the ass. And July 4th, 1776, Congress formally adopts the Declaration of Independence. And it really, solidifies the historical birth date of our nation. 250 years ago, we had that happen. Our founders drafted a document to rebel against a government that wasn't for them. And here we are 250 years later, and what are we doing? Let's just go through a few. Civil War broke out mid-1800s against the Confederacy. We adopted the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery. That didn't stop any segregation or discrimination in the 1970s. And it's still going on to these days. So there's a lot of work on that front to be done. We had the Great Depression, happened 1929, 1941. 2 world wars in the 1900s. The Industrial Revolution, early 1900s. So a lot of things have happened. With the 250th anniversary happening, we're at a point right now where this nation is completely polarized. We have one side of MAGA, and the other side is the Democratic Socialists of America. I think both sides are batshit crazy, fucking stupid. You have the MAGA who's there, who will do anything for Trump, a single person, and a king. But then you have the Democratic Socialists of America. The Democratic Social of America is not a good thing. Have you seen what some of them have said about America? You have Mandami down there freezing rents. I'm like, okay, what do you think people are going to do with that? They're going to retaliate. I think this is what's happening, because no one wants to meet in the middle anymore. Nobody wants to compromise. Everybody wants things their way. There can't be just like, I want it my way or nothing at all. You have two polarized entities that are on either side of the spectrum. That neither side are good for America. They're not. Can you imagine if somebody from a Democratic socialist has become president, which is a very good probability that can happen now? You have these Democratic socialists who are completely Zionists, who are completely against Israel, which I'm not for the decisions some of Israeli government has been happening. I've said in the past, that issue is a lot more complicated than people want to. Will a two-state solution solve the issue? I don't know. I think it's a step in the right direction. But like I said, do I agree with Bibi and his decisions? No. I think he's made a lot of bad decisions, but also Israel has a right to defend themselves. But they do not have the right to instigate or attack unprovoked. And this is where we're at right now. And I can only imagine the shit show of somebody from a socialist got into Congress. Well, they will be getting to Congress. They're going to make AOC look like a laughing stock. And that's scary because that's not what we need. We need compromise. We need just level-headed people to be able to come forward. There are people, quote unquote, breaking away from Trump and MAGA. Now, I'm not just talking about the Tucker Carlsons or Marjorie Taylor Greene saying they're done with the Republican Party. What I'm saying is people within Congress actually right now are voting as compromise. We had a great housing bill to help address the issues with what I said earlier with housing in the United States to help stem these corporations' houses. And what does Trump say? Oh, I'm going to veto it because elections. Because he knows right now Republicans do not look good going into midterms. Midterms are about 5 months away. And Republicans do not look good. I don't think Democrats look good either. But right now, it's who's in charge. They don't look great, so they're going to lose seats. All that going on. And with all this gerrymandering that's happening right now on both sides, Republican and Democrats. Yeah, Trump went to Texas, and they boldly, and they're just saying it. Oh, we want 5 seats, make it happen. Redistrict things. We're like, that's the very definition of gerrymandering. Other states are doing it right now. It's going to be a complete shit show. We need to stop it. Laws need to be passed saying gerrymandering is illegal. Do I think we go to do a popular vote? Popular vote. The problem with popular votes is it'll be all Democrats in such a small area in the cities and a few other localized areas, and then the rest of it, it's the middle America is going to be left out. We need to work for America, and the same thing with Republicans. So I think we need some common sense in Congress. And this is why I'm urging everybody to go out and vote. We need somebody who can go in there and speak. Because it's not happening in Congress right now. It's not happening in the Senate, not happening in the House. It needs to stop. Those midterms are very important right now because it's going to shape up to what's going to happen come our presidential election. And I'm afraid of who the candidates are going to be. Are we going to get another shit show? Are we going to get another Kamala Harris? Awful candidate. Biden pretty much screwed the Democratic Party with his, I'm going to run again, and then he just self-nominates Kamala. Like, she did terrible in the previous primaries that she ran for. It's wild right now to think this is where we're at on our 250th anniversary, polarized, instead of being unified and coming together, where we celebrate together and we mourn together. But I want us to be Americans together. Compromise needs to happen for us to move forward as a great nation. Right now, that's quickly declining, and I don't see an end to it right now until people smarten the fuck up. That starts with you, me, and that goes all the way through our voting and letting our voices be heard. Remember, this country is for the people, not for Congress, not for the elites. This is for the people, and we need to stand up for that. Happy birthday, America. Hopefully another great 250 years are ahead of us. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.